Good morning, good morning, good morning. We have had some tech issues this morning, but you want to know what? In our middle age, we're figuring it out.
We made it. We made it.
We made it. Well, welcome to Hair Smarter. My name is Sarah Rapul, and this is Sarajane Lynch, and we're here to give you what hair school forgot to talk to you about. So this is a big one.
Huge.
Oh, what to say when you mess up someone's hair. This is a conversation that every hairstylist hopes that they'll never have, but inevitably you will. So let's talk about a feeling that every hairstylist knows. And if you're sitting there saying, oh, no, not me, either you've forgotten or you haven't been doing hair for very long.
You know exactly the feeling we're talking about.
That moment when your stomach drops.
And that split second when you realize, oh no.
Ugh, maybe it's a haircut, maybe it's color, maybe it's a consultation that somehow went sideways, or maybe it's the look on the client's face when they turn toward the mirror.
And before they say a
Oh,
word,
God.
you know.
Oh, it's the worst. It's one of the loneliest feelings in our profession, to be honest, because you're trying to stay calm and professional on the outside while absolutely spiraling on the inside.
That's me. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And your brain starts moving 100 miles an hour. They hate it. They're never coming back. They're going to tell everyone they know, and I'm a terrible stylist.
Oh. Oh, and you get so hot and you may be sweaty. It's always my left armpit. Like, I don't know, but
Uh,
it's amazing how quickly one service can make you question like 10, 20, hey, 30 years of experience, right?
oh my God. Yeah. And that's exactly why we're talking about this today. Because every stylist will eventually have a service that doesn't go according to plan. Not
Yes.
because you're bad at hair. Hello. It's because you're human.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's get into it. I think one of the biggest lies in our industry is that experienced stylists don't actually make mistakes.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Oh, yes, they absolutely do. The difference isn't that they never mess up. The difference is that they've learned how to handle it when they do,
Yeah.
or hopefully.
Yeah. I remember being newer behind the chair and thinking, the successful stylist had somehow figured out how to avoid mistakes completely. Then I got to know some of them.
And realize they all had the stories.
Yeah, the haircut they still think about, the color correction they never saw coming, or the consultation that somehow got lost in translation.
It's crazy, right? I can think of so many stories that kept me awake all night. And not because it was the technically worst thing that I've ever done or you've ever done, but because of how it made me feel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So, I'm trying to think of one that happened recently because it does happen. So,
it does happen.
recently, this guy came in, he was a new client. He had found me on Reddit. For some reason, I have found some fame on Reddit recently. It's not one of the platforms that I'm like regularly on or how to use it, but I don't know. I'm on there and people are coming in, and you know what? Thank you. That's great. Anyway, this guy found me on Reddit and I could tell our energy like we don't match up. Like he's very anxious, he's in tech, he's very like a quieter person, whatever. So he came in, he brought me like, 4 or 5 different pictures, all AI, of course. And I was like, great, yeah, let's do it. He wanted to cut a bunch of hair off. His hair was like really long and he wanted like this longer Mick Jagger type thing. Anyway, so we cut the hair. I started, he had some wave in there, we washed his hair and everything. And I started cutting. When I first saw him, I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh, great, this isn't even going to take the full 45 minutes. Well, I start cutting. The first section bounces up way more than I thought it was going to. And I was like, okay, we're in the hairline. We're going to be fine. Took the second section, same thing. And then I was like, oh, fuck. this is going like at least an inch and a half shorter. So instead of being here, it was like here. So like, collarbone and it was getting mid neck. So I was like, oh my God, maybe I can save it in this third section. I'll drop it a little bit longer, whatever. That just made it look stringy and gross. So I was like, well, I gotta kind of get into this. So I keep cutting it. The rest of the hair is fine. It actually was a nice haircut. It looked good on him and whatever. Um, but it wasn't right. It wasn't the section that he brought in. And then he was like, well, how would I blow dry this? And so I showed him how to blow dry it. And, you can stretch it out a little bit with a blow dry, but as we know, you shouldn't use that blow dry to like, fix the haircut or whatever. And listen, I've cut that kind of hair a gazillion times. I really have. But I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or what. And I knew it. I knew it in my stomach. I knew it on his face. You can tell when someone's kind of like, oh, fuck, but we were still having like this weirdo professional conversation. And what I was afraid of is A, he wasn't going to like it. B, he was going to like call me out on it. C, I would have to say, I'm sorry. D, I'd have to give him back money. Like all of these different things. He came from me online and seemed to be very comfortable on Reddit. And I was like, well, that means I'm going to get a review on this, like that type of stuff. So at the end, we were looking at each other. I said, do you like this? How's it look? And he was like, well, it's a little short. It was at that moment that I could be like, no, it's not. Or I could be like, yeah, it is. Right. So I did. I said, yeah, I'm so sorry. It did get a little shorter than I expected. Do you think you can make this work? He's like, well, it's just so different from my styling, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he went home. I went home. I was thinking about it all day. I was like, damn it. But then the text started and the pictures, and he was feeling uncomfortable.
Oh,
He was telling
no.
me that it wasn't what he wanted, like all of those things. And at that time, being the middle child, I could argue, but I kind of didn't. I gave him two options and was like, I'm so sorry. You're right. If you'd like to come in for a styling session, we can show you how to style it, or I can give you your money back, which, if you know me, that is not something I normally say ever. Um, and he appreciated that. And you wanna know what? He did write a review on Google. It was not my favorite review in the face of the earth, but you know what he did mention? He mentioned, like, she was actually really kind. It wasn't the haircut that I wanted, but this is what she offered. So, you know,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of one experience. Maybe it wasn't like a technical oh no, but it was more of a communication oh no.
Mm,
And, you have to be really careful with long-haired clients.
yeah,
Because I feel like sometimes us stylists, we go into just autopilot and it's not that big a deal of us to take like 3 inches off of somebody's hair that's down to their waist. Or maybe it's 6 inches. Their
sure.
hair's still long. It doesn't look all that dramatically different. But in this case, I remember she stood up and was like, oh my God, my hair's so short. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, your hair's not short at all. It's still like to your belly button. But my, "Oh shit, oh no, oh crap" moment was like, "Wait, did I not confirm? Did I not communicate what I was doing?" And in the end, I really learned, like, my consultations always, 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 forever need to be communicated efficiently and
Mhm.
also just reviewed. You decide on
Yeah,
a thing, and then I confirm again. Like,
yeah.
okay, this is where the length is going because this person, I also learned that hadn't had a professional haircut in 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So these particular people need extra reassurance. That's what my major takeaway was. It's my responsibility to communicate efficiently and reconfirm and not just go on autopilot because that can get you into trouble.
Well, yeah, a lot of consultations, you're talking round and round and round and round, and they're throwing in feelings and thoughts and what worked and what didn't work. And like, yeah, totally get that.
And then ever since that happened, I'm like, okay, so just to be clear, before we get shampooed, this is where the length is going to sit. This is where the front length is going to sit. This is where the interior is going to sit. Are you good with that? One
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there a gazillion times for sure. Right. And listen, the truth is, mistakes aren't what makes stylists lose confidence. It's what we tell ourselves after that mistake happens.
Huge, huge. Yeah. Most stylists think what they need to do is fix the hair first.
Yeah. But that's usually not the first thing that clients need, to be honest.
It's so true. The clients need to feel safe
Yeah,
first and
exactly.
foremost.
Exactly. And research in customer service, actually, and healthcare consistently shows that people are far more receptive to solutions after they feel heard. So when
Yeah,
emotions are high, understanding comes before problem solving.
so true. Think about your own life. If you're upset and someone immediately starts explaining themselves, how do you feel?
Well, like they aren't listening.
Yeah.
One of my favorite phrases to say is like, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, I love that because most clients are uncomfortable bringing it up in the first place.
Exactly. And then I'll usually say something like, tell me what you're seeing, not what's wrong, right? Tell me what you're seeing.
Yeah, that changes everything. Now you're standing behind the client, looking at the problem together, not standing across from them trying to defend yourself.
Yeah. What kind of things do you say? Like, I think there's a bunch of different ways to kind of like handle it without saying, what's wrong?
Yeah, thank you for being honest with me is one.
I like the tell me more about what you're seeing, get some talking.
What about I want to understand exactly what is feeling off? That's a
Oh,
huge
that's
one.
nice. That's really
Yeah.
good. Which kind of actually, it's very similar to something that I say a lot like, let's take a look together.
Mhm.
Then it's like we're
Mhm.
working on it together, right?
Mhm. And also, like, if somebody's texting you, I always
Yeah.
try to get them to come in person.
Yeah. It's huge. Because it's just like you can go on and on and on in text.
Yeah. And also, I can see why you feel this way is another one.
Or I'm glad you brought it up,
Yeah.
right? Like those are all real world scripts that you can use instead of, jumping on the defensive right away or trying to prove that you're right.
Yeah.
The things that we say when we're panicking, like, can we talk about the phrases stylists use when they're in that scared mode?
Yeah. Cause they're usually not helping the client, they're helping us.
Exactly. They're attempts to make ourselves feel less uncomfortable.
Yeah. Things like, that's the picture that you showed me.
Mm-mm, nope.
Yeah. That's what you asked for.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Yeah. Or don't worry, it'll grow.
Oh my God. Straight to jail. You're
Yeah.
going straight to jail.
Immediate jail.
Yeah. The reason those phrases don't work is because they completely miss the emotional moment, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
client isn't looking for an explanation. They're looking for reassurance that you're with them.
Yeah, nobody feels better after hearing, well, technically,
Oh my God. How many times have you heard that in the salon from stylists? And you're like, nope, nope, nope.
no.
If someone said that to me if I was upset, that would just send me through the fucking roof.
Yeah, true, true. So a
Yeah.
better response would be like, I hear you.
Oh, that's
Or,
a good one. I like that. Or, hey, let's figure this out.
yeah, or I appreciate you telling me.
Or let's talk through the options.
Yeah, that's a great one. Or I'm committing to helping you feel better about this. That
Yeah.
feels very supportive.
Yeah, I feel like all of those are really great ways to do it. And there's this next bit of research that we found when we were looking into this topic actually blew my mind. There's this concept called the service recovery paradox. Researchers found that when a problem is handled exceptionally well, clients can actually become more loyal than if nothing had gone wrong at all.
Yeah, which sounds completely backwards to me.
Yeah, because we're so worried about being perfect and giving the perfect haircut all the time, right? But it actually makes sense because now they get to see who you are when things aren't perfect.
Yeah, because anybody can look professional when everything is going smoothly.
Yes, right? But character shows up when things get messy.
So
Well,
true.
what do clients actually remember?
Yeah. Trust,
Yep. Honesty, that's a big one.
accountability,
Mm, effort.
yeah, and communication,
Ugh,
huge.
communication is the biggest one, and it's not about perfection. It really is about the communication.
It's so true. Yeah, I've had clients forgive mistakes, but I've never seen clients forgive being dismissed.
Mm, good point. Good point. And I mean, before we get into what happens after they leave, like I did want to share like a little story because I actually had this happen several years ago. I had a client who was a therapist. And again, I had cut it a little bit short and had given it some layering because we knew each other really well. And the consultation, I mean, it was like, hey, well, oh, okay. Like, you know how it goes where you're talking and you're excited to see them and whatever. Anyway, it wasn't the haircut that she wanted. And I saw it on her face. Immediately, I was like, God, I am so sorry. I really am so sorry. I wasn't thinking, and I can't remember if it was layering or getting too short or whatever, but she didn't really want that. And she was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah." I was like, "What can I do to help you through this?" Like, and using some of those things that we had just said, like
Mhm.
really sitting on that trust or honesty or authenticity. And she was like, it's the summer. It's fine. It'll grow, whatever. She's still one of my most loyal clients, and it's been years and years and years. But just being honest about when you make a mistake, it feels really like your body feels hot and you're like, "Oh my god, I can't even believe I have to say this. I'm so vulnerable right now." But it actually makes it better.
Yeah,
It's
and
okay to say, "I'm sorry."
yeah, and you can't really hide mistakes. It's
No.
happening right before their eyes. If you try
Yes.
to lie to them or cover it up, it's like immediate, "I see you," you
Yeah.
know?
100%. Yeah, and, like, we're 2 people, I'm cutting your hair and you came to me for a haircut and there's, like, an equal relationship there. Why would I try to, like, hustle someone into thinking, like, "No, it's good." That will never, ever work. I'm
Yeah,
just letting you know right now, it's not going to work well for you, and people can feel that immediately.
yeah. I mean, you have an opportunity to gain or lose a client, and that is like a
Mm,
sure way of losing a client right there.
100%. So let's actually talk about the part that nobody talks about, really. Um, can we talk about what happens after the client leaves
Oh
after
my
this
god, yeah.
experience?
Yeah, because this might be the most important part of this episode.
Yeah, because now you're alone and your brain gets to work.
Yeah, the drive home.
Oh my God, the conversation in the shower,
The replaying over and over the whole conversation in your head.
the checking your phone every 10 minutes conversation.
Yeah, the waiting for the text conversation.
The wondering if they're posting about you
Oh,
online conversation. So, psychologists call this situation that you're doing rumination. So,
yeah.
studies show that replaying mistakes over and over again doesn't actually improve your performance. It increases anxiety, it increases stress, and often makes future performance worse.
Oh god, yeah. Which means your brain thinks it's solving the problem, but it's just reliving the problem over
Yes.
and over and over again.
Can you think of a time that this happened to you? I mean,
It happens more times than
it
than we'd
does.
like to admit, right? I
Yeah.
think this also happens, like, with friendships, I mean,
Mm,
in everyday relationships, not just behind the chair. But, I can't think of a specific example, but I can tell you what's happened to me in the past is if I ruminate about a situation that happens behind the chair, the next time I show up behind the chair, I'm not present.
mhm,
I'm not in it. I'm
mhm,
second guessing myself. I feel insecure
mm.
and my work sucks.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
It happens because I'm not feeling confident. I'm not feeling good about myself, and I've just ruined another day.
Yeah, right? You're carrying something that was before into now, and if you're doing that, then you're reliving the stuff in the past now,
Yeah.
which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
I can think of one, it wasn't specifically about doing hair, but well, yeah, it was. It was during Fashion Week, my favorite thing to do. I was at a show. The guy who was in charge, the way these things work is there's like a main stylist and then they hire a team. And so I had been hired on the team. And the main stylist was an amazing hairstylist, not the best communicator in the world for sure. And if you've been involved with Fashion Week or something like that, then you know that it gets a little hectic. You have 3 hours to do hair, makeup, and nails for, 30 to 50 models, and it's hair that you maybe haven't done before or that is hard to do or hasn't been communicated well or whatever. And you're working with a whole bunch of people that you may or may not know, right? Not everybody might be the same skill level. So that's kind of how that works. So I went in and I was working with the stylist, and early in the style prep, he had been like impressed with me. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, give Sarah, like, the harder ones compared to the other people on the team," like, he felt most comfortable sending, and I was like, "That felt good," right? That felt awesome to, like, have someone of his stature be like, "Yeah, she's, like, the good one on the team. Let me send the people to her," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah," especially because I have always felt a little bit more insecure about styling in general.
Mhm.
Anyway, so it's going about halfway through. I was styling one of the models and he came over and, he's dealing with the designer and also dealing with makeup and dealing with all the people and the press and all the things. So he's really like jammed up and got like a little bit curt about the style. He was like, "No, no, no, this isn't right. Like, do it this way. Like, do it with this hair powder stuff." It was like spray hair powder. And I was like, "Okay." But in my mind, that wasn't the product to use, and I was like, "Oh, if we do this, it's just gonna ruin what we were doing. This is gonna make it worse." And so I, like, sat on that for a while, and then I was trying to be a good communicator, and I went over to him and was like, "Hey, just so you know," because I know he was new with the product line that had sponsored the show. I was like, "Just so you know, like, this product is like a traditional hair powder. It's not like a texture spray." And he whipped around and he's like, "I know what it does. Thanks." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I just wanted to make sure." And then it was like this weird thing, right? So it was long story long at this point. Like, I ruminated over that for like 3 days. I kept going over it in my head like, "Oh my god, first I was the one that he wanted to depend on. I was like his, one that he wanted to give all the hard models to, the hard hair to do. And then all of a sudden he snapped at me. Oh, and it made me feel humiliated or embarrassed or, whatever the words are that go with that." And so I was trying to like replay it in my mind like, how could that have gone better? Did I mess up? Was I in the wrong? Oh my god, I fucked it up. Am I gonna be
Yeah.
invited back to another show? All of that. I don't know, like, it was kinda crazy. I carried it, I'm not gonna lie, like 3 or 4 days, which is not normal for me. Normally, I'm like, it's done," right? But what I eventually learned from that is I kinda asked myself, like, "Okay, did I communicate well? Did he communicate well? Were we all on the same page? Like, did I get caught up in the energy? Did I take on his energy?" Like, that type of stuff, and, like, is it worth my peace 3 days later? And not really. Do I think
Yeah.
he's thinking about it like it was the worst conversation of his life? He probably doesn't even fucking remember. You
No.
know what I mean?
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
and,
what are
like
the circumstances that this is happening under also, like, it was a very
yeah.
stressful situation, lots happening, he's responsible for all these people, all these things.
Yeah, and it's like giving someone a little bit of grace, and there doesn't need to be a blame there, and I don't need someone else to fix it for me. I just need to, like, put it to bed, you know?
Also,
It's not worth it.
give yourself some grace.
Yeah, honestly, right?
Mm,
Because that's just kinda how it goes.
yeah.
So, one thing I have learned over the years is that every difficult service or situation or even relationship, with that kind of energy needs a finish line.
Yeah. I love that because a lot of stylists never give themselves one.
Yeah, and they just keep punishing themselves weeks later, months later, sometimes years later. I
Ugh.
mean, actually, this was years later. Now that I'm talking about it, I might need to go back to therapy. Jesus.
Yeah, for something they've already learned from.
Yeah, like when I have a difficult service, honestly, I ask myself 3 questions. Like, did I acknowledge it? Did I do everything reasonably possible to make it right? And did I learn something from it?
Yeah. And if the answer is yes,
Then it's done. Work
yeah,
is done.
then you don't need to keep beating yourself up about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe it's helpful, especially as you're getting used to like kind of changing your thinking about this, having like an end of day closure practice. So write down what happened. What did I learn? And what will I do differently next time?
Yeah.
Eh,
Then
Yeah.
close the notebook, literally.
Yeah. Because reflection and self punishment are not the same thing.
Yeah. And a lot of stylists confuse the two.
Yeah. If you've ever messed up someone's hair, welcome to being a hairstylist.
It doesn't mean you're untalented. It doesn't mean you're
Oh,
careless. And it definitely doesn't mean you're done growing.
yeah. The goal isn't perfection.
The goal is professionalism.
Yes, because professionalism isn't revealed when everything goes right.
No, it's revealed by how you show up when things go wrong.
Yes.
If this is an episode you feel like one of your hair buds or your staff would benefit from, please share. Give us a like and to subscribe so more hairstylists don't have to suffer through the hard stuff.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And know that we will always be addressing what hair school forgot to. Thank you so much. And we will
Thank you
see
so
you
much.
next time.
See you next time.
Bye.